Now we come to the portion where we have a chance to discuss the reading of the week. This week is Vaetchanan. He pleaded. How many times have we pleaded with God to hear us, to answer our prayers? I definitely understand Moshe. So, any comments on the message for the day?
Well, I'll say something. First of all, thank you for that really beautiful message. And the parasha is such an incredibly beautiful one, encapsulating pretty much everything that God has to say to us. It's such a parasha of hope, because so often we including myself, the where is God? Why is God allowing this to happen? All these questions that we have to live through. And, I think of my life before I walked with God at all. And had I experienced some of the things that I have since, I don't think I would have made it. Like, I honestly don't think I would have made it in even literally or figuratively, in the sense, who knows what I'd be doing now. But this is such a message of hope and truth, that his presence in our lives, and when we don't always feel his presence, it's just it's a beautiful truth.
Holly, you were going to say something?
No, I had leaned forward just to look at the bulletin again.
Oh, okay.
You're just davening. Peggy, she's davening.
She's davening. And davening is when you go to synagogue and the men are praying, they go back and forth like this. They daven. It's called davening. Exactly. You'll often see Jewish people doing that when they read.
Ashkenazis especially.
Ashkenazis especially.
You must be part Ashkenazi, Holly.
I've gone to synagogue here in Calgary a couple times, and I definitely look over and see people doing it.
Yeah, I know. And I was wondering, I think I asked you already, having learned some of the liturgy from here, were you able to recognize it there? Yeah.
I like often I'll put us here on mute and then read it in English so the kids know. So if it looks like I'm talking, that's why.
I do the same thing, actually. I read it out loud in the English, because it's so powerful. That person who asked me the question about Israel and the church, I tried answering him, but it was very difficult. And this is a Jewish believer, and this is why this is making me so sad, because he wrote me back just this morning. He said, I was actually asking about the relevance and connection of Israel to the church. The Torah, while it can benefit anyone who listens, wasn't given to the church. The covenant of Moses has ended, and trying to bring Gentiles under the law as proselytes isn't my intention. I mean, I can't even read this now because it's just so brainwashed. The church it's brainwashed Christianity. Rather, Gentiles ought to connect to the roots of their faith. Well, what are the roots of their faith? Is it the Roman Church? Honestly, and spiritual heritage. If it's not God and his Torah, then there are those who believe God is finished with the Jews in Israel, not understanding how they are spiritually blessed through Israel, but as per the Abrahamic covenant and promise. It was more along those lines I was asking. And honestly, I just don't know how to answer him except just by sending this message.
You have blinders on that only God can remove.
You're right. That's why I think the prophet said, I don't remember which one, they have eyes, but they cannot see, and ears, but they cannot hear. And we're
still learning, right? We don't know we're still learning and growing.
Yes. And he's writing a book about all this, and
documentary that just came out by that big church of, what's his name? That guy that just gives me the creep. It's a big church in California.
Kenneth?
No, not Kenneth. It's that older guy. No, not him. I want to say John somebody. MacArthur.
John MacArthur's, yeah, famous.
Yeah, his church, Grace Church, they just made a big documentary about the church. And
Right.
yeah, I saw it the other day and I just was like, oh, it's automatic. Like, oh, I don't know.
I know. But the sad thing is like, we wonder, where is God? Why isn't he listening to us? Why is he allowing all these things happening on the planet? But we have millions and billions of people worshiping false gods. And the remnant is not being heard. We're being drowned out in the din. And when I went to sing at a party for a lady who turned 98, and I've been singing for her birthday ever since I met her. And one of her sons asked me, that was how can we change anything? How can we change it? Because people are waiting for the Messiah. Is the Messiah going to change it? But to me, waiting for the Messiah to change things is like waiting for the rapture of the church. I don't know how God is going to do it. All I know is that he spoke to all those people at Mount Sinai, millions of people. Those plagues were brought upon the Egyptians, and the Israelites saw everything that was going on. He revealed himself in a magnificent way. And that's the only thing that I think is gonna has to happen for the whole world to see him.
And honestly, I think it's so ironic that people are waiting for the Messiah. And Yeshua came and he said, the kingdom of God is here.
Right.
Watch how I live. This is what the Torah looks like, lived out.
Right.
There's the solution. There's the answer. That's what we're all waiting for. And we have that responsibility and ability.
Yeah, but then they come back at me. They come back at me and says, well, how do you know anything about Yeshua? It's in the New Testament. That's where you get it from. Why do you pick and choose? Because how do you know if you don't believe that he's God or that he's part of a Trinity? Then how can you believe anything else that he said?
What do you mean, Peggy? Sorry, I just want to be clear.
Well,
You say people are saying that you're just picking and choosing things in the New Testament, but Yeshua himself never said, I am God incarnate.
But they say he did.
Well, I mean, I think Shaul.
They say they interpret I and the Father am one. So they're saying, and he is the great I am. Sorry, Holly?
What you want to see and what you've been grown up teaching. I want to just make a quick little connection before Owen leaves, because he's like wanting to sit on the front porch with his books.
In his rocking chair.
I'd love that too.
We watched the new Batman movie with the kids last night. It's called The Batman.
Oh.
And I really enjoyed it. I wouldn't recommend it because I don't know what your guys' comfort level is with violence and all of that. And there was probably swear words. I don't know. It's not like a righteous movie by any means. But
I watched them all.
Okay. And then at the end, I don't want to give spoilers, but I'll say like the two main characters at the end, one of them says, I'm going upstate New York. Things here are never going to change. They're never going to get better. I'm just going to go live a happy life. And the other one says, I'm going to stay because I have to at least try. Right. And we were kind of joking during the message and saying, look, this is the solution to the movie. Somebody needed to just come and take the Torah scrolls and say, I know how this is going to work. This is the key. This is the way. That should have been the end of the movie. But of course, they're never going to put that in there.
No, that's for sure. But that's exactly it. That's true.
And it's that key, like what you were saying, Peggy, we have a responsibility to take care of ourselves, but living the way that God told us to live, not just going and having a happy life, Exactly.
Yeshua said, we're to be a light to the world. Oh, God said we're to be a light to the world. And Yeshua said, don't put your light under a bushel or under a barrel. Let your light shine. Well, what does that mean? Let your light shine. That's Owen behind?
Yeah.
Hi, Owen. Bye, Owen. Let your let your light shine. If you don't, the only way to allow the light to shine within us is by dealing with all our garbage. You know, we have so much we struggle with every single day. And it's not a struggle when you're amoral or when you're immoral. You don't have to struggle with the right thing to do. You just keep doing wrong and you're okay with it. There's 12
of us now for the 12 tribes.
Yes, we're 12 tribes right here.
But you know,
You were going to say something, Matthew?
Yeah. So I listen to podcasts a lot, and they do a lot of it's a lot, you know, it's self-help, it's dealing with your own childhood trauma, trying to reconnect and deal with the inner dialogue, all sorts of it's positive things. And one of the guys was talking about an analogy of, he said, have you ever opened a drink and realized that it tasted
like what? Sorry, you were cut out.
So imagine opening an aluminum can of green beans and it tastes like aluminum. It doesn't taste like green beans, right? And then if you have a water bottle that's been sitting in the sun all day, a plastic one, and you open it up, take a drink, it tastes like plastic. And his point was, as vessels, what message are you bringing? And then with that message, is it tainted by all the garbage that's still in you undealt with? So so it can't be pure, it can't be accepted or displayed properly when it's coming through the filter of all of your, you know, like that guy you're talking to, like he's trying to make a connection and try to have some sort of relevance of Israel in his life, even though he's a Jew who's been raised in the church, and he's trying to make a connection to write a book to benefit somebody, maybe himself, maybe he's doing it for his own ego, I don't know. And he can't see past his container because he's looking through the lens of his life and what he's been taught, etc. And anyway, so dealing with yourself, I mean, my nephew's here with us and we were listening to this and he's like, well, wasn't there a guy who said something like, deal with the log in your eye before you try to deal with the speck in someone else's? And it's like, to deal with self-help, or sorry, to think about self-help and self-improvement, etc., as a new agey, unspiritual practice. All you got to do is rely on Jesus. That's how we were taught. And now it's like, no, Jesus actually taught you to deal with your own crap before you can ever think to be a real benefit to the people around you. Doesn't mean you have to be perfect before you can start that process. It just means you need to have that process as part of your routine so that you're not tainting anything that comes out of your mouth without maybe wanting to listen. So
Exactly.
It's all,
yeah. And when we have the additional, you see, a lot of the world depends on the body-mind connection, but then they leave out the third aspect, that the spiritual, which is God in our lives. And God in our lives, when I'm really struggling about something because of my upbringing, because of my character, how I am, I just go to him and ask him, please help me to see what I'm doing, to see how to make it better. But then I have to still take that next step and do something about it. It's not only knowing about it, it's the doing about it. That's what the Torah is. It's not only knowing, taking copious notes on how I'm supposed to live, but really taking that next step and walking with God. And that's a day, it's a lifelong process. And we'll never be perfect until we're out of this body. And it doesn't mean that we have to wish we're out of this body right away, because that's sometimes how I feel. But it's just, it's knowing that we are, like Rabbi said last week, that's why he loves the Torah, because it doesn't paint a picture of how perfect we are, but it's quite the opposite, how imperfect we are. And we just make mistakes, and we just need to learn to love ourselves no matter what, even throughout those mistakes. And when there are people in our lives who are just too toxic, we just have to say goodbye. What can we do? But this whole thing about false gods is so huge in this world. It's easy to see them when we think of the gods of Egypt, because they had shapes. But the gods of today don't have the same shapes. The gods of today are the icons that we, oh, this one has such a fantastic voice, and they're basically worshipped by so many young kids. Or like as I said, the very wealthy who want to change the planet and make it to be the way they want it to be. These are the gods who think that they hold the control. Mauricio, you sent me some things this week, which honestly I didn't have a chance to look at, but thank you anyway for that. I know you have always a different perspective of these things. I come at it from a little bit of a different perspective, because I want, when I open the scriptures, I sometimes look up what some of the rabbis say, only when I really don't understand a word or a phrase. But I want to come at it from a very simplistic perspective. I'm not a trained rabbi. I don't rely on the rabbis. As a matter of fact, I'll be called a heretic for changing that last line, "For God so loved the world." I change it for what I believe it says. I don't revere our rabbis. As a matter of fact, I've met too many who don't even believe that Moses wrote, who don't believe that God gave Moses the Torah, that it was Moses who wrote it. He was wise. And they themselves are not a light. So Orthodox Jews or who are always being put up to me, oh, look what they're doing. Look what they said that. I said, and just because they said it doesn't mean that was the thing that we loved about Yeshua, that he said, your fathers say, your sages say, your elders say, but I say this to you. So I want God to speak to me directly and let me see what I see. And it may not always be right, but it's what I see. And you have a different perspective. Each and every one of us, when we read the scriptures, that's so beautiful about it. It speaks to each of us and deals with each of us where we are. That's so beautiful.
Sorry, I've been attending a shipment that should be 40 hours ago, must enter to
Wow.
operate, and it's a mess, and it's a lot of money. So people is calling me. Okay, that's why I couldn't hear prior what you said.
Okay, but you already read it because I sent it to you.
Yeah. Okay, but yes, regarding this portion, Vaetchanan, for me, it's really interesting the fact that sometimes we ask to God some miracles, we ask to God some goods, because we as human, we try to think what is best for us, but God is beyond us.
Right.
Okay. So sometimes we ask for something and he sent us something completely different.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And for example, in this portion by Hanan, I plead to God, this numeric value is 515, I guess.
The numeric value of what? Vaetchanan?
Vaetchanan, yes.
Okay, is 513?
So, yeah, the point is that the sages say, okay, this is the how many times Moshe asked to God, hey, please, God, let me enter to this land, okay? And God says, hey, it's enough, okay? And and we can think it's not fair. Okay, for example, how many years Moshe supported all these people and wrote all the Torah and everything. And it's interesting that this word stop, don't plead more.
Enough.
Enough. Yes.
Basta.
Basta. Yes, basta in Spanish. Yeah. It's interesting because when well, the Seiya says that this word, the word in Hebrew is Rav Lach. Okay.
Rav Lach.
Rav Lach, yes. And this word has two different meanings. It depends how you see. Okay. One is that is too much for you. Okay. It's like, oh, it's not really enough. It's Moshe, you are eating too much. Okay, you want too much. Okay, I already gave you more than any other living person, and enter to a land is too much even just for you. But on the other hand, this word is also meaning that a lot waits for you. Okay, it's like giving an idea that there is a better price for you in the Olam Haba
Right.
than this land physically.
Right.
Okay.
And
So
yeah.
So there is two meanings for the same word, and it's
Yeah.
interesting because we can see that it's not when we just read enough, we can believe that God is not fair. But yes, God is fair because he's saying, oh, Moshe, you are looking for this, and I have better things for you.
Right.
And this is exactly what happened to our lives every day. Sometimes we plead to God, hey, God, let me this blessing or give me this asset. I don't know. But God said, Rav Lach, I have something better for you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's why all the Seiya says that we have to be thankful, okay, and happy all the time. When God says no, well, like 3 days ago, I heard a song when and that song said, I don't know who sings that, but it says that when nobody says yes, Jesus says no, or something like that. And it came to my mind this portion. Okay, why? Because it's exactly what happened. And I said, oh, these people is putting Jesus, but honestly, is God.
Right.
God is the one who says yes or who says no.
Right. Right.
And he looks for a better. Okay.
Right.
For not because in the short time is good for us.
Right.
And then I sent to you some that is written in the Talmud, okay, which is about when it starts to say, oh, if you go beyond these gods, then I will destroy the land. Okay, and there is something very hidden in these words, because by in one hand, okay, yes, Israel act beyond the gods of that time. They went to Baal Peor in some moment of their history, right? And they follow other gods. So they start to commit the same mistakes that made that the Canaanites and all these kingdoms deal, and the reward for them was to lose the land. Okay, and this and it's interesting that the Sayes, what they are saying is that there is a word, okay, in Hebrew okay, in Deuteronomy chapter 4, 25 and 26, okay, and the word is benoshatem, okay, and this word is that you shall remain long in the land and shall be corruptly. But this word long is this word benoshatem. So the numeric word of benoshatem is 852, and the Israelites were exiled in the year 850. Okay, in the sayers, what they are saying is God is showing mercy to Israel when He sent Israel to the exile, and and when I read this, was something like, how could I say that God is good and merciful when all these people went to the exile? You know, because honestly, if we read Lamentations, honestly, that was something apocalyptic, I would say, something very barbarian, what the Babylons did to the Israelites. They say that they start to eat, for example, their own kids. I don't know what kind of starving you have to eat your own child, okay? And so, and probably we cannot understand.
And hopefully we'll never know.
Yeah, and hopefully never, okay? But the point is you can see the mercy of God in this Lamentations book, okay? But the sayers, they are saying, no, it was the mercy of God, because if the exile will be on the year 852, God sent them 2 years before this time happened, okay, in order to do not destroy or erase the people of Israel from history, okay. If He let people will go to 852, then Israel already today do not exist more, because remember when we read in Genesis that the evil of the man was increasing
Yes.
until God said no more life.
Right.
Okay, because the evil was so I don't know, there is
Yes.
no words probably
Yes.
to say how evil the mankind was.
Well,
So
sometimes I hear what you're saying. Sometimes Miriam and I, they have now people who are piercing themselves and tattooing themselves and adding parts to their body and doing things that look so evil, so wicked. And we wonder at what point, I mean, thank God we're not at the point yet where God is going to He says, I think this time it will be through fire. And it's funny how the planet is warming up. And you see in the south of the states, like in Texas, my daughter tells me how it's like 100 degrees, 110 degrees. It's so hot. Sari, who's living in Texas, talks about how hot it is there now. And I don't think we're at that place now, but we're worshiping so many false gods, and especially in the land. The land now is filled with anger and hatred, sinat chinam, with riots and rebellion. But there's still people who still have, there's a remnant there. And hopefully there's enough of a remnant as we are here. There's enough of a remnant to stay God's hand, and to, and I think that's part of what we're doing is returning to Torah. That's why I said we don't realize the repercussions not only of turning away, but turning back to him, but not turning back to a religion, turning back to God and his Torah in a true way. And you know, I don't know. Sometimes I would say, well, if the Messiah is going to come, I would love to be here to see it. But I also know that things are going to get very, very hot on this planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, the point is that sometimes in my life, for example, I have seen sometimes that I said, God, this is not fair to me.
Right.
But honestly, I never seen about what God, when he says no, okay, when he say I won't give this to you, his mercy is there, because he's protecting even from my own desires. If we go back to the previous book, remember that God say yes to Moses' pledge when he said, "Oh, can we send some scouts to the land?" And God said yes. Okay, and this is an example. Yeah, I will give you, but how descend 40 years in the desert?
Yeah, look what happened
Yeah.
when Hezekiah asked for more years, 15 more years, and it was a disaster for Israel.
Yeah, so the point is that
be careful what we ask for, and just be glad.
Yes.
Be glad when our plans don't go our way. God may have another plan in mind that's
Another
even
plans.
better. Exactly.
Yeah, because his thoughts are higher than our thoughts.
Exactly.
And so that's why when God says no, we have to say, thank you, God, because you are protecting me from something. I don't know what.
Exactly. I see that in so many ways, even with Mildred, who's now 95, and she fell, you know, and she ended up in the hospital. But if she hadn't fallen and ended up in the hospital, we wouldn't have found out how anemic she was. And, you know, and it could have been really, really disastrous. So sometimes bad things happen because God is trying to change our direction, trying to show us something. And, you know, I've seen that a lot in my life. That's very, very true. Yeah.
And also I just want to add something, because this week we were discussing with Baruch, who is Guatemalan guy.
Okay.
He sent me something that he said something about we need to have a contra culture. I don't know if that is the word in Spanish.
Counterculture.
Yeah, contracultura in Spanish.
Yeah, counterculture in English. Yeah.
So about that we need to be different, but I said to him, okay, I don't think God warned us to have a contraculture. Okay, he just called us to be light in the world.
Right.
Okay, because when I say contraculture means I am against you. Okay, and when we say we are against you, that is sinat hinam. Okay,
Right.
because we don't see that, but yes, sometimes we say, oh, this is a person different, he thinks different to me, and I do not accept him. Okay,
right.
But when we are light, it's not about accept or not accept. Okay, it's just about shine.
Right.
And people who doesn't see can see their own with my light. Okay, so and it's not really my light, it's God's light.
Right.
Okay,
but it doesn't mean we have to accept everybody's behavior.
No, I'm not saying that, because it's not about accepting or not accepting.
Right.
It's about You know, I remember one time came to my office a person, a salesman who wants to sell me a product, and then he started to talk about how bad the competence was.
Oh,
And
the competitors.
yeah, he
Yeah.
said, "Oh, look, that product doesn't give you this, and that product," and I had to stop him.
He's a
Okay, and I
politician.
said,
That's what the
yeah,
politicians do. Yeah.
and what I said is, "Hey, stop! I want to know your product. I don't care about the competence you have. I know how your competence is. I want to
Competitors.
know you."
It's competitor.
Competitors, yeah,
Yeah.
competitors. So why? Because you're not selling me your product, you are selling me the bad things the others do. Okay,
Exactly. Exactly.
so in that is what about to be light. It's
Right.
not about saying people you are bad, you are
Exactly.
not good,
Yeah.
this person is doing something bad. No, it's about saying this is the way of the light. Okay,
Right.
it's like selling your own product because it is good, and because it is good you have to buy it. Okay,
Right.
and honestly, it's not about, that's why I say it's not about accepting others' behaviors.
Right.
Okay, it's not about hating others' behaviors. It's just about to be light. And when people says, "Oh, here is a light, this person is different," then they want to know more.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's one of my biggest challenges, is because when somebody else is telling me what they believe or how they think, it's almost like I have this thing rise up in me where I have to show them that I'm right. And I have to show them that my way is the best way and their way is not the best way. That is such a, and that's, I have to stop doing that, because first of all, Rabbi would always say that you don't have to defend God. It's just a matter of allowing them to speak and then calmly showing them a lighter way or a better way. You know, it's not an easy thing to do, especially when you have a beagle mentality like I have. Like, a dog,
no,
a beagle, we want to, yeah, pounce.
yeah, and we were discussing with Baruch about this thing, and honestly, he well, we start to say, "Oh, God needs you." Okay, and I said, "God doesn't need me." Okay,
But that's
because
a very,
I was trying,
yeah.
to shock his mentality.
Yeah, but
Okay,
he's not the only one. There's a whole, in Orthodox Judaism, they say, I remember Rabbi Shlomo Karlebach. Remember him, Shlomo Karlebach?
yeah,
A lot of music. He would say, God is like, we are nothing without God, and God is nothing without us. When I first heard that, I went, what? What kind of God is he serving?
yeah,
He needs us.
yeah, and he said, no, he needs us, because how can he can do his will in this world without human race? And I said, hey, if I said God needs Mauricio, okay, then what I'm saying, he's not almighty.
Right,
Okay,
right, exactly.
because he can do. And remember, folks, it came to my mind this, what Yeshua said: if you don't talk, then the rocks will talk for you.
Right,
Okay,
right.
so what does it mean? That God really doesn't need, we are the ones who needs God,
Yeah.
and we are
Just
the
so I
ones who
don't
needs to
forget.
shine. Okay,
What?
yeah,
Sorry, so I just don't want to forget, just on that point, when I was studying like a year of Bible study under the Christian, Christians, I remember people would they would have these questions, and there was always like a pat answer, like a set answer, which was the right answer. But I would ask the question, for example, they would ask the question, what is the purpose of our lives on earth? What's the purpose? Why did God, why did God create us? What's our ultimate purpose? And I know what they were asking. I didn't have an answer, but the pat answer was, what was our purpose? To worship God. It was just like that, was to work. And I said, but what does that mean? Like that God, I said, well, why did God create us? There isn't an answer. God doesn't need us to worship him.
That's a very egotistical answer. Like that he wouldn't, a dictator needs to be worshipped.
But not only that,
Yeah.
there are certain things that, like inherent in creation, that are so beautiful that we can't put words to it. Why did God create, you were just saying beagles. Why did God create a beautiful dog? Why did he create us? He doesn't need us, but there's also not an answer, because there is a mystery to what is creation. How could we even conceive with our own mind what it is, except to be thankful for the beauty of creation? So it's the same as this, when people say, well, our purpose is to worship God. It became almost like a puppet. Why are we here? Question number 1 on the exam: to worship God. Why did God create us?
Well,
So
it's a little bit like saying, well, why did you marry that person? Oh, because she does this, and this for me. It's like an exchange of
a grocery list.
Exactly. Instead of just wanting to be in a relationship with that person, loving the person.
But we're so
because people don't understand, because religion doesn't teach relationship. Religion teaches,
bottom line.
yeah, and that's
and also we always, just the nature of us, we ask questions. It's very like, A is answered by B and C. Sometimes it's not that we don't have an answer, but even our questions are wrong. Like, how could you ask a question of something that's so big we can't even, like, why did God create us? What does that even mean? Why did God create us?
because he felt like it.
Yeah, for me, honestly, I've been thinking about that this week. God, what you put us in this world just for a glimpse, okay? Because honestly, our lives is a glimpse. It's 50 years, 16 or 100 years.
Yeah.
It's a glimpse in eternity. So,
Yeah.
But God wanted to put us in this time, at this moment, and at this place. But what makes us different really is the purpose of God, okay? Because yes, we never have a right answer for this question, okay?
Yeah.
That is the very first thing. But in the other hand, God put us something that make us different from other creation.
Right.
That is conscience, okay?
Right.
Because we are aware that there is light. Okay, what other creation knows that there is a light, for example, in this world? Yeah, for example, a dog, yeah, he can say, oh, there is a light or there is not a light. Probably he doesn't care, okay?
Right.
Okay.
He just wants to know if he can eat it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but we have a conscience, and when we are conscious, we can enjoy what God did, okay? And we can say, oh God, it's really good what you did, and have a relationship, as you mentioned, Peggy, because that make us have a relation. For example, to worship God, for the Christian is to bow and like, oh God.
Yeah, that's what they think, exactly. That's worship.
But
this
is
actually
an idea.
Yeah, but the Hebrew is the Hebrew word is so different, because the Hebrew word comes from avodah, which is work. It used to be workmanship. It was serving.
Yeah.
It's serving each other. That's true
Yeah,
worship.
that is true worship, yes.
Yeah.
It's not nothing about to bow and just to be like a saint, okay? Oh God.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
is not, that is something, an idea wrong.
Yeah,
Because who serve God? All the priesthood.
exactly. And they worked very hard.
And they worship, and they worship God. And how
Yeah.
they worship, they were serving people, they were serving to the offerings.
They
and all
were
these
they were
things.
butchers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly,
and-
they had to climb up and light the lights. They had to make sure everything, it was a big job. The
I
whole
guess
night.
the
Yeah.
better question is like, what gives your life meaning? And meaning is in relationship, and
Yeah.
loving God is a relationship, and that's meaning. But we can't, certain other questions are just impossible.
Yeah.
You know, but God
Yeah.
told us that this world is good. Like even I think it was in Ecclesiastes when he said that God gave us this world for us. It's a good place.
Yeah.
And there's
Exactly.
meaning
Yes.
in that.
And we can enjoy, and we can
Right.
thank
Right.
for this place. And we have to take care, because what God
Exactly.
give us is a work, okay?
Yeah.
A very hard work. The problem is that humanity doesn't care the job. We are trending to show pictures in I don't know, in social media.
Yeah.
But God, what is the commandment for Adam, okay, for humanity, is to take care of his creation.
Yeah. And what?
Stewardship.
Yeah, exactly. Like this morning I saw Holly posted on Facebook part of her garden where she planted sweet peas, and there's so many of them, and they're out there in the garden eating sweet peas, and God created sweet peas for
Right.
us to enjoy, and it took work to get there. It didn't just happen overnight. So, when I try to plant a garden and I just threw the seeds in and I said, "You're on your own, kids," they didn't do very well.
By the way, just
What?
remember you're asking about the clover flowers, because I
Yeah.
put anyway, I have the beautiful green clover all over, and I looked it up yesterday. Remember, I said, well, why are there no flowers yet? They said it's the second season when the flowers come.
Aha.
Next year I should have flowers.
Wow. Well, I see Holly and Matthew are working on something. What are you making?
So we don't do screens on Shabbat anymore. So now
You
our
don't do
kids-
what?
We don't have screen time. Like
Okay.
we don't watch movies and play on our phones and stuff. So now our kids are all like, well, what can we do? What can we do? And I really like embroidery. It's where you make a picture with thread on fabric.
Right.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Oh,
Your kids naturally just do.
Do you draw it first?
Yes. So Peter, no, sorry, this is Micah. So I don't know if you can see, there's very faint blue lines. He drew
Yes.
mountains and I think some plants.
Wow.
My nephew is visiting, so he's embroidering over there. Isaac and Matthew are here. Micah is here. Reuben and Peter are all embroidering.
That is
That's
so
so great.
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 Do you have one that's finished that we could see?
I have one of my own that's finished.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. Oh, that gives me a new thought in my head.
No idea. Isaiah, are you doing one too?
My pictures.
Can you show them that one?
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
That's so
Can
beautiful.
you show me again, please? Wow,
Yeah.
this is so beautiful.
Wow.
That's gorgeous. What does the other one say?
I
Oh
can
my-
see. Sorry, Holly. I can see. Please show
Love
me.
grows.
Love grows here.
Wow.
Let's
Great.
see the other one again. Yanette wants to see the other one again.
Please. Mira, qué lindo.
That is gorgeous.
I can see. Wait. Wow, I can see. Wow.
Beautiful.
Okay, wait.
Peggy, the pink flowers there look like the ones, the flower ones we used to plant.
So it's just a like a side to side stitch.
I think it's called satin
And
stitch.
who decides the design?
Bello.
Yeah, how did you make the design? Did you copy it from something or you just draw it?
This one is a kit that
Yeah.
I bought, artist
that's
in
nice.
Florida that drew this picture. And then when I bought the kit,
Wow. So really beautiful. Mira. Oh, look at that. Wow, amazing.
And then what are you
And so-
going to do? And then you frame it?
well, I just left it in here and then we have it hanging
Es
on the wall.
hermoso.
Ah,
Mm.
qué bello.
Ah, bello.
So in the kit, it comes with like, it has like little colors or like, what does it look like?
All of the string that you need, and it comes with the hoop and the fabric and a needle and everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Oh,
No
so
puedo.
nice.
Yeah, I don't do it in the summer as much, but the kids all wanted to do it today, so we got
That's
it
a
out.
great idea. Matthew, what are you working on?
So beautiful.
Hey,
Yeah.
That's
No, that's a
gorgeous.
Batman.
That's
That's
done.
so good.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's Batman.
mountains
No, I
also.
think-
I was
I
gonna
think
say in Judaism, we wouldn't be allowed to do this,
electrocardiogram.
create anything on the Shabbat, and you're not supposed to work with fibers on the Shabbat.
Qué
Yeah.
bello. Mira lo que hace ella. Oh
Mm.
my God, qué bello. Wow.
Yeah, that's why he said, don't add or take away anything from my word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
¿Cómo se dice?
How long does it take you?
How long you take you for do? To
This
do?
one, it took a long time, like maybe
Okay.
2 months of
Mira.
working on it.
Oh, meses.
Wow.
Wow.
Qué
So, porque
bello.
si lo hace rápido, lo puede vender varios
Yeah.
meses,
It's amazing. Wow.
2
Wow.
meses.
Okay, so beautiful. Wow.
Wow, that's great.
Oh my gosh. Beautiful. Because Pat made it the bordery too.
You can go outside or something.
Eso es arte.
So, Tomo,
With the children is not easy. It may look really cute, but
yes, it's art.
Eso es arte.
lots of frustration.
Kids are having those emotions too.
You're a beautiful family.
Son como de-
Mm.
That's great.
So great.
Oh,
Yeah.
Moshe from Uganda just signed in. How are you, Moshe? Don't know if we can hear. They finally we helped them build their synagogue. They have a roof now. And which is very good. So Isabel, this is all new for you, what we're teaching? Did you
Yeah.
hear this before?
Yeah, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Isaiah, where are you, Isaiah? He's on the left of Matthew, and on the right of you, Holly. Is that Peter?
Micah sitting here.
Micah. Okay, Micah.
Micah will be 13 in a few weeks.
Wow,
Wow.
Micah, you become a man at 13. You know that, eh? You're ready to get married.
No.
Well, you just begin. That's in ancient Israel, you would already be paired off and engaged to somebody. It would take you a while. Do you have a girlfriend yet?
Not
Not
really.
really.
No, really.
Aha. Well, I know Yeshua and Miriam were both really young when they got, Yeshua and, no, it wasn't Yeshua. I mean, Joseph and Miriam were both very young when they got engaged. I think all teenagers should be married. It would save a lot of trouble.
Caitlin just said, okay, see you guys later.
Well, it was nice to connect with sorry, what?
5 years overdue in that regard. She's 17. She doesn't even, yeah. Wire some money. Good luck.
No.
Oh, well. You have somebody in mind, Caitlin?
He's working on it.
Oh, yeah?
Work
Well,
in progress.
That's good. Remember, we all have to accept him.
Flush and walking out the door.
Listen, when I was 18, I was sure I had made the right choice. Guess what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something too. My brother, so my older brother, Roland, he taught us or told us, like, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, as a parent relationship with your child, children usually are taught that you don't talk to your parents about the person you're interested in. You don't consult with them. You don't nothing. You basically show up and say, this is who I'm going to go with or be with or marry or whatever. And he's like, that's so backwards. Why wouldn't you discuss? Why wouldn't you consult? Why isn't that the pattern? You know, the way the Jewish people do it is brilliant in that regard, because you have, it's a family decision, kinda. At least the parents are involved majorly, because they're the ones kind of choosing in that regard. And a lot of times it's like, well, how often, you know, I had girlfriends before Holly. There was there was no consultation with my parents. It was like, here she is. And they're like, okay. So anyway, we're trying to do it the other way with our children as best we can.
Absolutely. Well, I found out afterwards that my parents, well, my father and his mother, both of them didn't think we should be married. And yet, if that was the case, if that was me, I would say, sorry, I'm not paying for the wedding. I don't believe you should be together, and that's it. You know, parents need to be strong when in that case, otherwise the children could be set up for a lifetime of misery, and you don't want that. So that's a continue.
Sister dated, and I was like, this is not good. This is not good for you. It's not for him. It's not right. And all of my brothers, so my sister's the youngest of 6, so she has 5 older brothers. I'm the next one older than her. And we were in high school at the time. So she was like 15, I was 18, or she was 18 and I was 20 already with Polly. And it was like, we all knew it. And she got her heart broken, and it was just a bad situation. And it was like, we didn't understand that we had a role and we could have said something. She wouldn't have listened. That's for darn sure. But we could have said something.
Right.
We all know she's not a good person. So
yeah,
I don't know, like there's a community aspect that can be there, but you have to foster it, and you have to teach that's an option, versus everything is on your own. You do everything on your own. All of these things, it's just you. So anyway.
and that
It's
is so
unfortunate.
opposite. It's so opposite to what God did, because he created community. Like I got some pictures this morning also from another family who, you know, they have 2 kids, and they send there with their grandchildren every single day. They help them, they work with the grandchildren. They're so blessed, and mothers need that kind of help. It's very difficult raising your kids alone.
But it's also unfortunate, like when we talk about this, like it is too bad that the parents don't get involved in that. But the whole context is wrong. The kids are just gonna say, no, I'm gonna go with that person anyway. But you have to go, our whole way of having families and not being part of God that's what's wrong. It's not suddenly get involved. Like, had your father, you wouldn't have listened to your parents, Peggy.
I wouldn't have.
No, but my point is that
Yeah.
not to put down your parents. I'm sure they loved you. And
No,
things
but
were-
you're right.
No, my
because
point is that there was no
Yeah.
context for them to,
Right.
without
We weren't
God in the
raised with
family, it
honor.
just doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
the idea of honoring parents means that you honor you. Yeah, well, the whole system is
You honor God,
off.
the whole system's
The whole
fucked up, as
system's-
they say
yeah.
in Yiddish.
Exactly. Anyway, this was lots of fun today. It was really great. So next week we will see you when we do, what's the parasha next week? Who knows? Let me see.
And Rhonda, we wish you publicly.
Yeah,
Because you'll be gone for until September.
yeah, we won't see you for a month at least, Rhonda. So
Have a
you,
great time with your family and
thank
with your
you.
chocolate.
yeah,
and
Nosia
Hershey's,
Tova.
Pound of Hershey's, and with your, may you can have a great time.
Yeah, have a safe,
Yeah.
safe trip. And don't eat too much chocolate.
Kev,
Oh, that's gonna be
Kev,
hard to
no?
do.
What did you say, Mauricio?
The next portion is a Kev.
Ekev, right?
Kevin.
Heel. Exactly. All right. Have a wonderful rest of Shabbat, everybody. Enjoy the day. Etid, nice to see you again. Isabel, Sari,
Bye.
Sari. When are you moving to
Shabbat
Indiana?
shalom.
Sari, tú vas a Indiana, ¿no?
Eso espero
¿Cuándo?
la próxima semana.
Okay, so next week, Sari is moving further north to Indiana.
Wow.
So she's trying now to learn some English. Inglés, ¿no?
Inglés.
No es
Yeah.
fácil.
No.
Allá no hay español, así que.
What's the capital? of-
Yeah.
What's the capital of Indiana? Is it Indianapolis?
I think so.
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
Sí.
Indianapolis. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, have a safe trip, you too, Sari, and I hope you find good work. We need to pray for you for that. We'll continue to pray for the Alvarados that they can, if it's God's will, first of all, for this trip,
Yes.
that
Yes.
you be provided for. And yes, Brian.
I didn't get a chance to tell my cousin who I spoke to, who thinks you're Jewish by your mother, but she had a son who, she has a son, the last one is not going by, he's a common law, but her brother's second child, the girl she married,
Right.
Jew.
I don't.
Oh, okay.
The son
Well-
doesn't marry because there's no Jew. Doesn't really,
Yeah.
gotta marry a Gentile in order to have a Jewish child.
Yeah. Okay. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Lots of love to everyone.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Bye.
shalom. Bye.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.